So, hello, I'm Deanna Shoss with Intercultural Talk with my VA, Brianna Buford. We are doing this for two reasons. One is looking to figure out how to do Facebook Live, how to do Facebook Live interviews. But Brianna, I thought as long as we were talking, it would be fun just to talk about the whole VA virtual assistant relationship, because so many people now that are working from home, or people who maybe didn't have businesses before but are thinking of businesses or growing, people have asked me when I'm like glowing about you, they're like, really? Like, how did you find a virtual assistant, and what did they do for you? So so we thought we would just take this minute, maybe sort of interview each other, because we both have different perspectives on our relationship, which, as we just both were surprised to find out, is we're coming up on our 3-year anniversary. So clearly having a VA has been fabulous.
Just that.
Exactly. So do you want to start with a question? Or do you want to toss one toward me?
Yeah, definitely. So, as somebody, since you do get asked so much, so what is the best part about having a VA, and how has it really changed the way that you do business and your productivity and just everything like that? How has a VA changed your business?
Mm-hmm. So one of the things is, now when I say we, there actually is a we. It feels like there's more of a team. So the nature of my business, so I have a marketing business, and the way that I work is everybody, for the most part, are independent contractors. So if I'm the head or the owner of the company, I've got a website person, I've got a designer, I've got different people that I'm able to pull in on the different projects to serve clients. What I love about having a virtual assistant is it allows me to be able to focus on new business. So, you get to the point where you're in the business, you're running the business, but how do you grow the business? And one of the things you said to me early on when we were figuring out how to work together is, you said, well, why don't you give me all the things you don't like doing? And I remember thinking, oh no, because my experience always was like, well, if I don't like doing it, I feel bad giving it to someone else. And I remember you were like, yeah, don't feel bad.
No, yeah, exactly. That's the VA's job. The one job is to take all the things that you don't want to do, or don't have time to do, or don't know how to do, and then do those things for you, so you can focus on the things that are in your genius zone, the things that will make your business grow. So definitely, yeah. I mean, I see that a lot as well. People don't know what to hand off. They don't want to hand the things off because either they feel like ownership of it, or they feel like, somebody else can't do it like they would do it. But it is, it was really important, I saw for you to kind of, let go a little bit of some of those things. And you found, I've seen that I've seen how you've seen how helpful that it is. So tell me then, so what do you think is, I guess, what do you think is the main thing that allows you to hand something off, or to decide that this is something that you want your VA to do? What is that turning point for you?
Mm-hmm. Well, so first of all, I have to thank you so much for being very patient and very tolerant, as I have learned how to kind of let things go. Or not, it's not let things go is not the right word. I think what I did early on, which wasn't fair to you, it was I would wait until something was like right up against a deadline where I was at fault for not getting it done, and then I would throw it over to you. So it would almost be like when something was in crisis, I'd be like, oh my God, Brianna, I just can't get this done. Can you do it? Which is so unfair. But we worked through that. And so I guess our process, just to answer the question literally, I have a very mapped out week. When you're an entrepreneur and a business owner, particularly when you office at home, like, I need a really well-structured day, and I need measurable things that need to get done to be able to deliver the big picture for clients. And so every day I've got my day broken down into like 15-minute increments. And what'll happen is I cross things off as they go. And you and I started, I maybe mentioned something to you because we started, and we do talk weekly. I do think that's important. If things are flowing, we might skip a week, but for the most part, that weekly phone call has been really important. But we together kind of figured out that you needed to ask me, or that you would ask me, what's on your list that hasn't gotten done?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And for a while I would be like, this is on my list, but I'm going to do it. And then I think now sometimes I'll look at it and be like, we both know I'm never going to do this here. Please do it.
I'm going to do it. Yeah. You had, I think it was a good idea for you as well. You had, if it's been on the list for 2 weeks, you need to hand it over. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Because, and sometimes the obstacle, who knows what the obstacle is?
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about, sometimes I'm too emotional. Oh my gosh. Things like I do when I do my with billing and stuff each month. I always like to give monthly reports to clients. And every time I would do my monthly reports, I was so emotionally tied to like what I had done, and so conscious, had I done enough? And so I was spending way too much time, again, out of purely wanting to do a great job. I was doing way too much time. And I was like, I'm turning these over to you. Oh my God, you turned them around so fast. I wish I would have done that like years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's what a lot of people find as well, is that once they do start handing over tasks, even if their VA just gets the ball rolling and then they edit and finish, they really do find that they have more time, they have more energy, they have more inspiration to actually get it done, and get it done the way that they would have done it in twice as much time, sometimes. So I think that's also, an important thing too, like you said, sometimes with your reports, it would just take so long, but handing it over to your VA, you were able to do the same project in less time for you, as the business owner, meaning you have more time, to spend on your business. So I guess because you have, all of this time to spend on your business now, or at least more time to spend on your business, just to back up a bit. So at what point in your business was it that you decided you needed a VA? Why did you think that, having a VA would help you either scale your business or, help you be more productive?
So basically what I realized, there were too many administrative things that were just taking too much time. And so some of them were just repetitive tasks. Some of them needed content. So it did need to be someone who was a good writer. Just even a step before that is, well, I guess deciding I needed a VA and then how I went about finding the perfect VA were both two different things. But I realized that I needed the help if I was going to grow. I had maxed out at what I could do with and needed more time to be able to the whole idea of growing the business.
Yeah.
If you want to grow the business, for my business model, it's very relationship oriented. I work, well, so my target client is usually people, they tend to be non-digital natives. So usually age 50 and older, people who are brilliant or have this creative idea that they've always wanted to do, that, like that passion thing they have to do. But they are not familiar with today's communication technologies. So I help people. I meet them where they are. It's digital, it's intercultural, it's real life marketing. And the point with that is it's very relationship focused. I need to be out there with the person because I'm figuring out what makes them drive. I'm getting their voice to be able to write like them. I'm mining their own resources to figure out who they can connect with. All of that is all about being out there. And to be able to do that, I just needed a lot of the ongoing things to be done.
Yeah.
And I would say ongoing things. You and I have figured out a great plan because we have at least 4 or 5 different clients who do monthly newsletters. I just know that things needed to be more regulated. I needed systems beyond what I could bring to the business.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that, you made a good point, earlier when you were saying, you were maxed out on time. Like there's only so much that you can do in one work week for your clients. And, in order to grow, you need to free up some of that time. So I think the fact that you realized that was a monumental step in your business. And anybody else at that point in their business who's realizing, what, I am either running out of time, or especially now that everybody is at home and you have to maybe, cook 3 meals a day and deal with more people working and schooling and things like that. You just don't the time, it just feels like it's not there. And so,
Mhm.
like you were saying, in order to grow, you have to be client facing, and to get more clients,
Mhm.
you have to
Yeah.
have more face time. You need more
Yeah.
time in general.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think that that was a great point there. And so, I guess, one question I have then too I that I get asked a lot is, how have you seen, so the before and after, how you were feeling before and how you're feeling now compared to how you were feeling now with a VA, with some of these tasks? What are some of those feelings that come up? Like how much, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but how did you feel before and how are you feeling now?
Mhm. So, um, one of the things, I'm going to answer your question by talking about one of the real joys that I didn't expect, that I really love about our relationship and working together. And it has to do with ideation. Again, as a business owner, you may consult with other business people, but you're making tons of decisions all the time. You're making decisions for your clients. Should I do this way? Should I do that way? Should I use this tone, that tone? All kinds of things to make sure that your clients are being served. And particularly in my business, which is I love my clients, but really exciting stuff. Like, we have clients working in diversity and equity inclusion, someone who's really at the forefront of brain science and psychology. And so, where you're trying to do a lot for your clients, but you really want to make sure that you're getting the voice right and that you're thinking kind of multiple perspectives. And so, one of the things I really enjoy is, I know if I've got a piece to write and I'm stuck, that I will wait till our weekly call and do ideation, where I can talk out loud and say, here's what I'm thinking of how this piece should be structured. And so that part's really fun, to get someone else's perspective on, maybe it's the wrong order, or maybe I've said something, you're like, oh, I would see it this way, or so it's really interesting. And sorry, I'm sure there's some times where I'm like, thank you so much, I'm going to do what I was going to do anyway. And then I think I call later and be like, I'm sorry, I really appreciated your time. um, but um, uh, but that ideation. And so I don't know about other people. I feel like when you're trying to build a business and you're serving people, and maybe it's women, I don't know, there's that little voice that always goes like, are you doing the right thing? And and I like that sometimes I can run ideas by, or we can talk about ideas, to kind of say, well, most of the time it's like, oh, have you thought about it this way? Or, this is great, that sounds fabulous. It's always like where 1 and 1 equals like 10, where you can take the two ideas and it becomes something bigger. And that's really exciting. So I've really enjoyed that with having a VA.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that you bring up a good point here, because a VA can also not just be somebody who just does admin tasks, just checks your
Mhm.
email or anything like that. They really can be an accountability partner. They can be a brainstorming session. You can do anything like that, because when you have a good VA, that VA is going to be really invested in your business, like I am, and really
Mhm.
invested in your success, and really also understand kind of the goals that you're after and kind of what you're going for. And so that is one good thing that I've also
Mhm.
found, just in working together, as long as we have, that I feel comfortable, even just voicing my opinion, like, hey, I don't know.
Yes, that is
Yeah.
so important. That is so important. Even if it's completely opposite, like, it's good to know that you're not going to let me like run in front of the train. That I do appreciate, I don't know if pushback's the right word, but I do appreciate that, that you will counter with other ideas. And that was something that was, because I want to make sure there's practical stuff for this. So we talked about, when I decided to have a VA, it was because I knew that I needed help managing, some of the back office stuff, whatever it was. I needed help management before I could get any bigger. How I went about getting a VA, and I remember it was you. The VAs were actually really helpful when I was interviewing. I think someone said, write down everything you don't want to do. Write down everything you're doing that you don't want to do, and that's your job description for your VA.
Exactly.
So so that was good. And then I think I don't know if this is who you originally set up your website with. I thought it was Virtual Savvy. The Virtual Savvy was a company. I believe that I sent my description once I had it to them, probably as just using their contact form, because that business is more about helping VAs set up their businesses. I had 5 people respond, all of whom were incredibly talented and really smart. They just each had different areas of expertise. And actually, and I remember the thing that really pushed you ahead was how you managed me scheduling your interview. You were like so on top of it and so detail oriented about us connecting. I was like, oh yeah, that's what I need. I need someone to whip me into shape and get everything organized. So, but yeah, the process all along though, then between slowly doing things to planning ahead, but then also to grow your full areas of that are your things that are now your responsibility. So you support me, but also within the business, there's certain things like, oh, that's Brianna. So that was an evolution. That was hard for me as a business owner to kind of get to that point of kind of turning things over. But I think that's just the process of the relationship building.
Yeah, exactly. So, like you just to reiterate, like you said, yeah, exactly. Like if you're a business owner ready to hire a VA, write down everything you do, everything you don't want to do, and everything that you have to do. And if it's not on the you have to do list, such as a client call, a video, something that your face needs to be on, then that is all something that you can hire a VA for. So I think it was, great that, you took that on. It is such an easy way to make your job description. And yes, if you did need a virtual assistant, you did go to the Virtual Savvy. She has a small-ish like community of people who she helps grow their VA businesses. So definitely anybody in that community is a good one. For
Great.
sure. So yes, that is how you hired. So we talked about that. And then just what relationships with a virtual assistant can grow into. And yeah, I think that this has been pretty practical, I hope. Was there anything else that you wanted to ask that you can think of?
No, but I would say, just as people are, especially now, the world is completely global. It's Zoom, it's video. And so whereas we interface via video conferencing week to week, we've actually never met in person. Yeah. So I'm based in Chicago. Brianna is not. So that's also just an interesting point of how you work with a VA. I think that's the kinds of questions I get. How do you get into that groove? But clearly it works, because we're coming up on 3 years. If anybody is listening, and I'll tell you another thing you use your VA for is when you want to try new technology and see if it works, like StreamYard. I had heard this. Yeah, you're calling like, let's try this. We experiment. So clearly it works. We'll take a look at the recording. If anybody's watching this after the fact and you have questions for either of us, please go ahead, just leave them in the comments, and we're happy to share that with you. I'm happy to talk to anyone who's trying to figure out if a VA is right for them and how to do it. I think at some point you have to, if you're going to grow your business, you've got to, it takes people, it takes time, it takes planning. And so I think it's a key step along that road.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to, kind of piggyback on that point, I've also never met in person any of my other clients, and they are all over the place, and it is such a beautiful thing. And it'll feel less weird now that we're all doing video calls, but it really does feel like you're in person. So I do notice that some people have hesitation with getting a virtual assistant, because they feel like there's going to be some sort of coldness or some sort of separation, but it really is warm, warm relationships and warm conversations that we get to have. It really feels like we're in person. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Good.
So let's see here. So I had another question here.
Okay.
No, you know what? I think we actually covered it. It was just how we got started, and that was.
Oh, we talked about, yep, through the virtual savvy and then,
Mhm.
yep, and doing the interviews and stuff. And I did, if that's okay, I'll just say it because, and Brianna knows this about me. I always joke I'm from the show me state. Like, I want to be so sure before I start something that it's going to be good. And so what you can do, I did the virtual savvy. We spoke. I actually asked for references of people that you had worked for before. I checked references. So did everything that I might normally, that I might do just even let's say if I was hiring an employee, and really felt confident that this was the right move. And clearly, again, now that we're coming up on 3 years, it clearly was. So
Mhm.
um,
Yeah.
thank you.
Of course. And I do think it's so important to just kind of feel it in your gut. It is so hard to just know, to make a
Mhm.
decision, just know. But, like you said, you had the job description, you had interviews, you had references. So there are tons of ways to be comfortable with the
Yeah.
person that you're going to be hiring.
Yeah.
It doesn't just have to be like you look at their like website and then you're stuck with them. No,
Mhm.
you can really almost do a background check, really, essentially.
So,
Hmm.
all
Yeah.
right. With that, I'll talk to you on Thursday for our regular weekly call. Thank you so much, Brianna. You are so wonderful and amazing, and really enjoyed this conversation. I hope it helps other people who are thinking of hiring a VA.
I hope so
It's a
too.
great thing to do. So,
Hmm.
all right.
All right.
Bye.
See you soon. Bye.